Welcome to Thoughts Off the Stem. I'm Justin Barone, your friendly neighborhood pothead. Thank you for joining me on your Friday at 4:20 to start your weekend off right. I'm such a dork. I've been getting high all day. Because, why not? Last night I was smoking my Palmetto all-in-one disposable vape. It's a dual chamber. It's pink burst and melonberry ice. Um, I thought I'd smoke it on the podcast today because I was sitting in my garage smoking this with a little bit of hash, which I have loaded in the Nugs Happle, just in case we decide to smoke some hash in a little bit. But I was smoking this stuff and hitting the hash in a bong, and I was giggling like an idiot for like 2 hours straight while watching those AI Sasquatch videos. Dude, I love those things. You know what drives me nuts though is the baby. Remember that like Chinese rapper, I guess, that put out the song and it was the babies in AI doing the rap. Dude, that one baby, that first one he did, I think it was the first one. That baby was so cute. I watched that thing like a million times. Now everybody is adding babies to everything. Like, it's amazing to me how quickly people jump on a trend. I wonder if it's actually working though. Like, when is there diminishing returns of that? Anyway, I was smoking this Palmetto dual chamber guy, and I was laughing my ass off. So I thought this would be a fun one to talk about because I started to get a little. I've been like nostalgic lately, and I've been watching Tubi because I don't want to pay for shit. So I've been watching Tubi, and there's a lot of old school movies and stuff from like my childhood on there, and I've been getting super nostalgic while watching it. And I've also been rewatching some of the old episodes, like Seshisodes of the podcast, and I came across the one where I talked about a buddy of mine and our adventure to Blockbuster after smoking a joint. You should listen to that. If I remember the name of it, I would tell you right now, but I don't. I think it's like what was it called? Something in a trip to Blockbuster. Yeah, I don't remember what episode it was. Bad prepared, Justin. No bueno, dude. But because I listened to that the other day, and I've been watching all these like old movies, like what was it? Escape from New York. What else? I watched a whole bunch. Why am I brain farting now? See, a couple hits of this, and you brain fart a bit. And then if you just keep going, like over the cusp of the situation, of over the cusp. You know what I did notice too while I was watching some of the episodes back? I say situation a lot to describe a scenario or a moment in time, you know? So I'm going to try and stop saying situation so much. I'm going to try and maybe I should read some more, right? Like, read a book or two and then like expand my vocabulary because I've noticed that number one, I swear a lot. Number two, um, I use like the same specific words over and over again when I'm transitioning into talk or if I get like caught up on myself. I say like a lot. I say a lot. I got to work on that. But I've been listening to the old podcast, that one in particular, which I don't remember the name of or the episode number. Good job, Justin. I'll put it in the description, so check it out in the description. But it's a good story about a time we smoked weed and the afternoon went to shit. And I started getting all nostalgic and thinking about how, well, I actually also came across a post, I think, online talking about how younger generations will never know what it's like on a Friday night to rent your one movie from Blockbuster, your one video game, order pizza, have a sleepover, and do your thing. But my generation will totally know that because that's all the 90s were for anybody between the ages of like 10 and 16 probably. Also, I realized that in that there's like a structure to that, which I'm trying to get back in my own life because um I feel like everything has gotten chaotic. I'm getting away from it just like this. It's chaotic. It's just all over the map. So, okay, we'll get back to that in a minute. So, it got me all nostalgic. And then it got me thinking there were a lot of movies that I watched back when I was a kid. And some of the stuff that was in those movies is now becoming like things in real life, situations, if you will, in real life. For example, if you look at Tesla and their style of cars, Cybertruck and otherwise, you could take a lot of the design from some of the sci-fi movies that I grew up on, like Total Recall. There's a couple car designs in there that look similar. Blade Runner. I was a little before the 90's, obviously, but my point being the original Blade Runner with Harrison Ford. The Jetsons. What else? There was another one too. Fifth Element. Some of the designs are, there's a Fifth Element level to that, and now all of a sudden we're seeing it. So the question that I have then is, is the does the movie predict the future, or do people that make movies just have more access or are better at accessing information that maybe contributes to the way things look or happen or develop in the future, like technology wise? Think about that for a second. Like, I know Alien hasn't happened, okay, but is there the possibility that maybe one day an alien, like we're discovering new stuff all the time, right? So is there the possibility that some kind of organism could get lodged in a ship and we're going to end up having to leave people in outer space on these crazy space missions because there's like a centipede ant cross mix alien trying to kill everybody that's like on this scientific mission? Or even Life's a good example. The movie Life, where wait, is it Life? Yeah, it's Life. Sorry. Where scientists find a new organism and then the organism looks like a thing from Alien, and then it sort of takes over the ship. Like, that's got to be possible, right? I know that we haven't really found too much, if any, like solar system biological entities, but I feel like they're out there. I feel like I've read a few maybe articles lately that have maybe stated that some stuff has been found that they never thought they could find, So it makes me wonder, do movies potentially predict the future, or does the future progress because of the depictions of the future in movies? There's a high thought for you. I'm just saying, you don't know, because think about it. I can't remember what movies they were, but I know that I've seen vaping in a movie. What else? Obviously flying and floating cars. I'm telling you, the Cybertruck looks just like something, I'm pretty sure it was in Blade Runner. Looks like it was right out of that. Also, who builds a truck that you can't wash without putting it in wash mode? Like, here's a battery. Now soak it. Oh, wait, you got to press this button first. I don't know, man. But having thought about that, and then, thinking about the nostalgia of what it was like, because I remember so well how awesome it was on Friday. You get done with school, and next thing you know, it's like 6 p.m. and you're out with your buddies, or depending on what age you are, you're at home, you're going out with your parents to pick up a movie. Remember Jumbo Video? Is that a Canadian thing? Jumbo Video had the whole like sectioned off part, the adult part too. You'd sneak a look through the beads, be like, what's up over there? All right, movie stores were awesome. It was like the signaling of a new event. Also, time seemed to go a lot slower back then. So like the day at school was fucking forever, and then you get home and you wait a couple hours till the whole family's home, then you go out and you pick your two movies, and then you pick your video game if that's like what you were doing, and then you get pizza on the way home, and that was sort of thing. So you spent Friday night from like 8 p.m. till midnight watching movies, playing video games, and eating pizza. Dude, that was the best. It also made me think though, like now, because everything, I mean, at least in our lives, I'm a single dad, right? So I've got 3 kids that do all kinds of different stuff. You're constantly just like running here and there to pick them up and never really getting a second to sort of like sit down and relax. So, obviously you need structure in life, right? I've learned this as I get older because I haven't had structure in a long time. So I'm trying to structure things again because when I was a kid, there was so much structure that like that Saturday night movie night, even if it was just at home, was the like super exciting. There was just something like those are the things that you remember, right? And now when you get older or as you get older, I feel like it's less exciting because you've done it so many times, but it's also less exciting because time just seems to go faster, dude. Time seems to go way faster as an adult. And then there's no separation of like your daily task to the next thing. As a parent, you're just kind of fluidly moving through all of your responsibilities in a day. But as a kid, you get home from school, then you have that pause for snack time, and then after snack time, and you play for like a couple hours outside with your buddies. Then you have like everybody gets home around 6, you have dinner, or if it's a Friday, like I said, you go out, you pick up a movie, or your dad picks up a movie, your mom picks up a movie on the way home with some pizza. And then you sit down at 6 o'clock, have some pizza, start watching the movie. Yeah, that was so good, dude. And going to the video store. There's something to be said about like having to leave your house to start the process of the next event, you know? Cuz like the way my life operates with my kids and stuff, I feel like there's a lot less appreciation for things. And like you have to constantly you have to accomplish certain things in a day to really appreciate the rewards of the day, right? So like appreciating movie night with pizza and a Friday night and video games and having to make that trip to Blockbuster and how much fun it was to like peruse the shelves, you know, it's lost when you just go from one piece of entertainment to the next, to the next, to the next. We're so inundated. I say this all the time. We're so inundated with technology and information that there's no real appreciation for it because it's in our hands all the time, right? And it's always accessible. And with movie houses or like movie theaters, I guess, and v like movie stores, What did I call them? What did I call it? Dude. Blockbuster is a crap, I can't remember. Jumbo video store. Jesus Christ, Justin. Okay, so this does give you the giggles, but you got to keep smoking through it. You know what I'm saying? So you go to the movie store, you pick up your movies and stuff, but there was something to be said about that. Like because you had done certain things in the day and you transition and your transition is moving to that, it's more there's more appreciation to it because you had to go through more to get it, just like anything in life, right? But now with like what do you call it, streaming services like Netflix and things like that, there's no appreciation for it. That's why, you know, binge watching and you go through stuff. Like I found myself as I get older now wishing that I could just get regular TV so that I could see the commercials, because even the commercials now are like nostalgic for me. Isn't that weird? Like I can remember being a kid and be like, "Oh my god, let's get through this." And like channel surfing. Channel surfing's not a thing. Now you just like surf Netflix until you find it could take you as long to find a show to watch, but you're not flipping through live TV or like, you know, like just different channels that are where you actually see something happening. You're now flipping through titles. So I've decided that because there doesn't seem to be as much appreciation for it with my kids and I'm trying to restructure life. Like actually put some really nice, like solid structure in there, much like I had when I was growing up, so that come the weekend, then you actually appreciate the things that you get to do, right? So even if you have to use a streaming service, because you have to use a streaming service now, if you don't get Netflix all week, right? And you don't get the use of your phone until like 7 or 8 p.m. for a little bit and limit that. Then by Friday on at 8 p.m. and you're ready to watch a couple movies and have some pizza, the appreciation for that pizza and that movie time is like tenfold compared to what it was the week before, you know? So that's what I'm hoping for. So I'm trying to structure my household where in the day You know, you do your work, all that stuff. When you get home from work or school, then we have to clean certain areas of the house. You got to make sure that the preparations for the space are up to par, you know, and then after that, once that's all done, then you do your homework, get your homework done, and then once your homework's done, then you can go on to entertainment for like an hour a day. And if you start to limit it, you know, then by Friday when you can have a like a bulk chunk of time to sit and vegetate, right? Then you appreciate that time more. It's the same as if you spend an entire week practicing basketball or sports or anything, whatever it is, and then you have your, you know, like test exam or your sporting event or whatever it is on the weekend, then once that's all over, there's a greater appreciation for the relaxed time. Whereas I feel like now, me personally, 90% of my time is relaxed time, and the 10% is work and effort, right? I gotta flip that because that's how you become complacent and that's how you get lazy. And this is all what I realized while smoking this Palmetto Pink Burst and Melonberry Ice Dual. So here's the thing about this though. The Melonberry Ice, the ice part has a little bit of a mint to it. Now with this thing, you can click it once when it lights up green. Hopefully you can see that if you're watching. If you're not watching, watch it and you can see it. If it lights up green, that's the Melonberry Ice. Pink, or I mean red. See how I flipped it to red? Press it once. That's the Pink Burst. Tastes kind of like strawberry. I don't know. It's candy-like. Very like Jolly Rancher-esque, I guess you could say. And then if you tap the button twice, it'll do both at the same time. So you get the double hit. It's a hybrid. It is 90 to 95% THC with 2% CBD. The one thing though, the dual taste is not that good because the melon ice, like the minty part of the melon ice, does not go well with the Pink Burst. Nope. It kind of makes it feel like or seem like you're smoking eucalyptus. And I know that that's a good smell, but it's not a good flavor in my opinion. But the high is really nice on both of these. And yeah, the Melonberry Ice apparently made me laugh mixed with a little bit of hash. It's unknown hash. I mean, I know that it's hash, but I don't know the name or the strain of it because a friend of mine gave it to me. But yeah, this thing is delicious and it gives me the giggles and it got me thinking about nostalgia, Blockbuster video, Jumbo Video. Jumbo Video was the greatest one. You walk in, you get a nice, like a tiny little sample bag of popcorn, walk around eating the popcorn, checking out the movies. And then when you were a young adolescent boy, you'd walk by that back wall and then all of a sudden you'd see that like drawbridge style opening to the off limits section. And you'd peek your head through the little beaded entryway and look around and see maybe the occasional ass. You know what I'm saying? And then of course the old 50-year-old dude that that has nothing going on in there looking for his weekend porn fix. Yeah, Jumbo Video was the best. We only went there a couple times and then Blockbuster came out. My dad was a big fan of like mom and pop video shops because he ended up getting to know the owner and he liked the owner, right? So they had like this customer proprietor relationship. And yeah, he would put movies aside for my dad. We would go in there, and if I wasn't with my dad, we'd go up and we'd take like R-rated movies that we weren't supposed to watch. We'd take him to the front. He'd be like, I don't know if your dad would let you see this. I'd be like, yeah, he would. And then he'd call, you know, the house and then ask my dad. My dad would be like, yeah, it's fine. Let him have it. Do you ever remember getting sent to the store? Because, like, on weekends, well, I mean, sometimes during the week, but weekends, we always wanted candy, right? So my dad would send me to Becker's. Remember Becker's? I drove by one the other day. I thought they were all gone. But, so he would send us to Becker's and he would give me like $5.75. That'd be enough to get his pack of cigarettes and like a Bigfoot, you know, one of those gummy Bigfoots. Those were my favorite. And, I remember I was like 8 years old, maybe 10, 8 to 12, somewhere in there. And you'd be at the counter and you'd be like, oh, I'll take these Big Feet and that pack of Players Light, please. You know? And the guy'd be like, what, you'd be like, yeah, my dad sent me. He'd be like, okay. And then he would just call the house. He'd call my dad. Did you send your son to get cigarettes? Yep, I did. No problem. Okay. And then he'd just give you the cigarettes and you'd be walking home, cigarettes, Big Feet, happy as pig and shit. You couldn't do that now, dude. Not even kinda. Although my son he's bigger than I am now. And he said to me the other day when he was at the gas station, because they sell beer there, right? The guy asked him, while they were buying chips, the guy asked him if he was looking, if he needed any lottery, tobacco, or beer. I was like, Jesus, my son is 13, okay? And people are like, yeah, they would. I had a baby face. He's got a baby face. But because he's so big, most people don't think twice about it. So I've been tempted lately to maybe try and send him in to get me beer. See if they'll do it. And then go back and complain that they sold my 13-year-old beer. And they didn't ID him. But that's crazy to me. Because there were times when I wished I'd had too many drinks and you can't really go anywhere, or I got too high and you just can't send your kid anymore to go get you tobacco products. Man, those are the good old days. When mom or dad would send you to the store and you pick up smokes while you picked up candy or a slushie. Those were always the big ones, slushie runs. And then you get caught up because there's a video game like Street Fighter. The guy that owns the store has put a video game, little arcade game at the back of the shop where people sit there eating their chips and drinking their slushies and pumping quarters into this thing for hours on end. That's what ours did. You'd stay back there for like 2-3 hours watching guys play Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. What else did they have? One point I think they had wrestling. Yeah, man, it was crazy. And then there was like the old kids on the block who wouldn't let you play. They would take it over. And just they would do that all day. Then the shop would get a call because your parents are like, where the fuck are my cigarettes? Be like, is my son still there? Yeah, he's watching. Okay, send him home. And then you get sent home. You can't do that nowadays, man. No way. All that's gone. But that stuff, like, that's the stuff that you really look back. I don't know. I look back on it when I was a kid. Those were the memories, man. And I want to give my kids the same memories, but fucking smartphones. And all they do is sit on smartphones and, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. It's all the same. They're just watching these 15-second videos all day, mind-numbing. Fucking, I said to them the other day, they wanted to start playing, like, volleyball and throwing the football around. So I take them to the park to play football. And, like, my son was pretty into it. But then my daughter, who had requested this to happen, was just like, I don't care, I don't want to. Like, what the hell? And then I had to explain to them that when I was a kid, you'd go over to your friend's house on your bike who lived like 4 blocks away, knock on his door, ask him if he could do anything, then he would get his bike and you guys would ride to the other side of town just to play baseball at a baseball diamond for 4 hours. And then you'd get there to do that and you get bored of that, and then you'd be sitting around and get deliriously bored, and then you'd come up with some other stupid game that you could play and you'd be pissing yourself laughing, realizing that you only have an hour left to hang out because you had to be home by the time the streetlights went on. Like, my kids will never experience that. They'll never experience that because their generations don't mess with the outdoors at all. Like, they go camping maybe, but everybody's got their phone and tablet with them anyway. So I'm trying to get them to shut that shit off for a bit. This summer is going to be the summer of, like, hanging out with Mother Earth, I think. Because as great as technology is for certain things, I think it's killed attention spans and appreciation levels. And I think my kids need to up their appreciation level for life again, And a big part of that is having adventures. Like, take a big long walk to fucking Blockbuster to get a movie on a Friday. Take your bike out to go play with your buddy and play baseball at a baseball diamond. Like, I sent them down to the park the other day with, because they wanted to play volleyball. So I sent them to the park where there's a volleyball net. They ended up getting kicked off for a volleyball league that was playing, but, at least they went. Take them out to play football, play catch. Like, just playing catch. I remember going out to the road near, when I was growing up, and you'd just be in the middle of the street throwing a ball back and forth. Car, pause, game on, when the car goes by, Like, yeah, man. My kids need a little more of that. They need a little more appreciation. They need a nostalgic look at having to engage in activities and then transition from that activity to a different activity. Because I think in the transition of those moments is where you like build up the foundation for appreciation, because you feel accomplished. Like, you have to feel accomplished to move on to the next thing. You can spend your whole life sitting around and relaxing, but like, how do you ever feel fully content with yourself? Like, for me, I need to have certain things that I accomplish in a day. So like, when I do this podcast, it's not just, I record it and then I leave it for a day. I record it, I produce it, put it all together, make sure that it's ready to be, uploaded, and then I go on to another task in my day. Maybe I work out for an hour, and then a transition from that, so that the amount of things that I do in a day fills me with the feeling of accomplishment, so that when I do decide to sit down and relax at the end of the day, or with my kids, or go to a movie, it feels special. There's like a specialness to it that is gone as you get older and you become the provider, So I feel like we got to get back to that, so I'm doing that. And I'm also going to spend the next little while, because you probably forgot, thinking about what I was talking about at the beginning of this, and whether movies predict the future, or whether the future takes elements from movies during its progress. You know what I mean? Because to progress, like, there's too many similarities. Is it because we have a visual? Like, once the movie shows you what somebody's interpretation of a flying car is, then it's easier for a person to make a flying car because they have that visual of what the expected item will be, I wonder that. Or is it that people in the movie industry are better at, or have more access to, information that the regular human doesn't, like the regular that the regular person doesn't, and so they're able to sort of give depictions of things because they know what certain entities are working on for the future of mankind. I've wondered that for a long time, dude. I really have. But yeah, that's what I've been thinking about. That's what I've been thinking about this week. I hope you enjoyed the sesh. Thanks for sticking around. If you have stuck around this far, hit subscribe, like the video, pass it on to your friends who you think might get a good kick out of it. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe to Thoughts Off the Stem on YouTube, because I also put shorts out, so you don't, you get a little bit more variety. Visit tots420.com, because I'm starting to put out the transcripts, and there's blogs and stuff on there. Also, access to all of the episodes, links on that. What else? Oh, check out Thoughts Off the Stem Sunday Strain Review playlist for all of the things that I smoke on the podcast. Yeah. I hope you have a good week. I hope life is good to you. I hope everything goes great for you. Until next time, keep your lids low, baby.